Hi, I'm Heather, and today I'm going to be talking to you about something I am very familiar with, and that is procrastination. I consider myself an expert procrastinator. I've been doing it my entire life, and it hasn't improved that much over the years. So, this month I'm trying some things to help with that, and I've found some of my downfalls. I wanted to talk about what procrastination actually is and what could actually help, and ways that you might be thinking about it in unhelpful ways. So first of all, what procrastination is not is laziness. I think it feels like laziness and we kind of associate it with laziness, but that's not actually what's going on when you're procrastinating. A lot of times procrastination goes hand in hand with people who are perfectionists, not always, but they do go hand in hand. And it's because procrastination is just another way to avoid stress. And if you're working on something, you are worried about how it's going to turn out, you're worried you're going to fail, then you're more likely to procrastinate and find ways to temporarily ease that stressful feeling. Obviously, we know that this just tends to make things worse because your deadline gets tighter and tighter, your work is going to be more and more subpar as you're trying to rush it. So obviously it's not really relieving your stress, but in the moment it feels like it is. If you're one of those people that's often wondering, like, why can't I just sit down and do this thing? Why can I not just sit down and make myself do this? Then this is for you. I have a few tips that I think might help. First of all is to just understand what I just said, is that procrastination is not laziness, it's trying to avoid a feeling of stress. I do this all the time when I'm feeling really anxious. I find myself on YouTube and social media a lot more, and that just tends to make me feel more and more drained and have less and less energy to do the thing that I really need to do. So the first thing you're going to do is just figure out, when is it that you procrastinate, what are you procrastinating on, and what are the methods you are using to procrastinate. We also like to do these things where we tell ourselves we're doing something productive and we're not, like cleaning the whole house. Like, this is good. Now that the house is clean, I can focus on my work. That's not true. We know it's an excuse. But, just pay attention to the things that you do when you procrastinate. Pay attention to the things that you are procrastinating on. And just pay attention to what you're feeling overall. Because then you are going to be able to recognize that better in the future and understand what it is and how to fight back against it. The second thing is, I didn't realize how much time I was wasting on things like checking my email, going on YouTube, going on Facebook, watching TV, just random stuff, until I cut those things out. I haven't cut them out for good. I just do frequent social media detoxes. And the thing I used to tell myself was, oh yeah, I like to have the TV on in the background while I work, and I like to be playing a video in the background while I work, or listening to podcasts or whatever. But if I turn all of that off and I don't allow myself to check any of it, and I listen to just classical music, I get through so much more stuff than if I'm just, I don't know why I feel like I have to have those things kind of distracting me. I think our brains aren't used to focusing on one thing anymore. So, if you're just feeling like you cannot get anything done, really take a hard look at your media consumption, how much time you're spending on all those things, because I thought I had it under control. I didn't, because once I cut it out, I couldn't believe how much time I had freed up and how much my focus improved in a matter of a day or two. If you know you have a problem with social media, then log out of everything, delete the apps on your phone, and really start to get stuff done. And if you don't think you have a problem, I would challenge you to just try a couple days or a week without it and just see what a difference it makes, because I think it would help everyone, honestly. Now I'll talk about some productivity hacks, and this is going to be very different for everybody, so I will just list a few that I like, and you can try them out and see if it works for you. First of all, I like to work at the time of day when I work best. For me, that's very early in the morning. I know there's so many articles out there, there's videos. I've done a video about getting up early and working early because that's when I tend to do my best work. That might not be true for you. So if it's not true for you, then, and you tend to work better later at night, that's fine. Just try, and it's not always accessible to do the work when you feel your best, but if you can, try to work during the times of day when you are at your peak mentally, and try to save some of the other like kind of easy tasks 4 times of the day when you tend to be a little bit more drained or just not with it. Another thing is batching, which I talk about all the time. But batching is, I'm doing it today, I'm filming a bunch of videos today. Batching is taking similar tasks and doing them all together in a block of time. This works because your brain needs at least 30 minutes to get into the zone of whatever you're doing. So if you are jumping from thing to thing to thing, your brain is never really catching up. So if you work in time blocks, then you've got everything you need already set up to do what you need to do in that amount of time, and your brain isn't constantly like playing pinball all over the place. And it's just easier to knock stuff out and to stay focused. So you take a 2 or 3 hour block and do like a bunch of something you need to do instead of doing it every day for 15 minutes a day. Another thing you can do that really helps me is to use timers, or like little, they even have those little time cubes that you can use, like, oh, I'm gonna work on this for 15 minutes or whatever it is. So setting timers seems to really help me focus. If I tell myself I'm gonna do a power hour, and I'll set an alarm for an hour, and just seeing the time ticking down really helps me to stay on task. It's just a good reminder that I need to be focusing right then. And then the last little tip I have, this is especially useful if you have little kids or if your day is very unpredictable, is to make your to-do list, and then next to each thing you have to do, write down how much time it's going to take you to do each thing. Because like, especially when my son was really little, I knew I had like a bunch of like little naps throughout the day where I had time to work. But I would look at my whole list and say, well, I can't do any of this. He's gonna nap for 45 minutes. Like, what am I actually gonna get done? So then I started writing down like, okay, this should take me about 15 minutes. This should take me about half an hour, whatever it was. And then I knew, okay, I can knock out these little things and, you know, save a longer thing for later. So having the amount of time next to them just helped me to kind of keep going with it and not feel like every single task was gonna take me an hour. So those are just some of my tips and tricks for procrastination. I mean, I think the biggest one is to understand that if you're doing something you don't want to do, you're not going to want to do it. Like, you're going to feel a lot of resistance. You're going to feel a lot of just wanting to do something else, trying to pull yourself in a different direction. Like, that's going to be there. But the more you work through that, the easier it's going to be to do the things you don't necessarily want to do, or to figure out what you need to do to get those tasks done that you're really dragging your feet on. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. So subscribe below if you want to see some videos on productivity and just getting things done, getting your life in order, and I will see you next time. Bye.